Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's September 12th, 2018, and I'm up in the second food forest area, and I'm near one of the beds right here behind me that's been covered sufficiently since springtime. Now we have three beds that are up in this area that are, probably 90 feet long, I'm guessing, and 6 to 7 feet wide. And what I did last fall was each one of these beds that we grew garlic in last year, or we've been growing garlic in each year, and we amend the garden beds with compost each year. But every year I've had more of a challenge with different weeds migrating into to the beds. So last fall I laid out tarps, and in one of the areas I laid out clear plastic to solarize the soil. But this is one of the beds that I'm not touching yet, but let's walk over to one of the other beds. So here I am over here with this bed here. This is one of the garlic beds that we've grown garlic in each year. The other bed, just underneath the edge of the tarp over there, which is the third bed, is the one that we grew the blue Hubbard squash and the blue potatoes in. I just got done harvesting the blue Hubbard squash today, already posted that video, and I'll be harvesting the blue potatoes as the soil starts to dry out some. This bed, I'll just talk about this one for a second. So last fall I came up after harvesting the garlic, which I got out of the ground a little bit too late, and I took some clear plastic, some used greenhouse plastic that came off the roll-up doors on the side of a hoop house. I laid those two pieces down parallel to each other, going over it, and it really did do a good job of solarizing the soil. So that used the solar energy from the sun, and it killed a lot of the weeds. Let's say the weeds that weren't super viable. But in this bed we had some bindweed and quackgrass, which there's still a lot of energy resources in those rhizomes, in the root structure themselves, so they could come back. So after I used the clear plastic to solarize it, I left the clear plastic down and then used two tarps. One's a 49 foot by 39 foot and one's a 39 foot by 29 foot, both from Harbor Freight. Not tarps that I would recommend purchasing for this sort of project. But I used those two tarps to cover up the clear plastic covering this bed, and it also extended over into the wood chip margins on either side. So I was all set. Well, we had some big winds late in the fall, early winter, and it blew a lot of the tarps up. It didn't completely uncover the beds. There were still many boards and blocks on top of the bed, but part of the beds got uncovered some. So it didn't really do as sufficient a job of killing all the weeds as I would like. So this spring a friend helped me relay out the tarps, and that did a pretty good job. You can't see anything viable right in the beds, and the beds look like they're in great shape, and the immediate margins around the beds, composed of wood chips, look really good as well. However, the rhizomes for the bindweed, the quackgrass, even the horsetail, and some of the nutsedge are all still viable in this. So my plan is to plant garlic here again, and unfortunately we don't have any more of our garlic. I just never took care of it as well as I should have, so I threw away over a yard of garlic. Very bad on me. So I ordered from Fruition Seeds some seed garlic and some scallions, and we're going to plant that. Now they go in the ground several weeks from now. They go in the ground between Halloween and Thanksgiving time. However, that gives me some time to deal with things. So today I came up, I pulled the tarps off and pulled the clear plastic off. I discovered a problem, a hornet's nest in that tree that I'll be dealing with here in a short time. And my goal was to take some of the large compost pile compost don't know if it's showing up back there, and bring that over. Use Optimus Prime, take some bucket loads with the tractor, distribute it out over this bed, and then do a full bed prep. So just as if I were to plant the garlic seed tomorrow or the next day, I really want to get the bed completely set, and realizing that we're still going to have the bindweed pop up, we're still going to have the quackgrass pop up. It's taken a big hit. It utilized a lot of its energy resources by doing the solarization and the occultation with the tarp, but it isn't completely eliminated yet. So I'm going to do one more thing. It's called stale seed bedding. I think that's the expression that's used. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get this bed as prepped as possible, along with another bed over there. Get it all set, get the compost laid out, and get the surface of the bed completely prepped. Later on this week, since there's hurricanes hitting the southeastern United States this week, and it's probably starting right now, we should be getting some rain as it moves up the east coast and moves further inland. We're in central New York. So we should get some rain at the end of this week or beginning of next week. So then we'll have two things accomplished. We'll have a bed that's completely prepped, all the compost applied, the rotary harrow or power harrow being run over the surface of the bed, getting it all nice and neat. And then we're going to have some rain. Then ideally I get the tarp put back over it. So what we've done is we've gotten all of that beautiful soil prepped, and it gets good exposure to the sun, it gets a good dose of rain, and that's going to encourage all the weed seeds that are left in this material here, and the compost that's had the wind deposit seeds on the surface of that. They're all going to start to germinate, and by putting the tarps back over the surface of this prepped bed, those weeds are going to be encouraged to germinate. Now if I have this tarp on for, let's say, 3 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks, those weeds are going to starve because they aren't going to be the true leaves. So you're going to have the cotyledons show up, and then you're going to have the first true leaves show up. Well, they're not going to get any photosynthesis because they're covered up. The sun has been occluded through the occultation utilizing tarps on the bed. So I hope that all makes sense. And that's my plan, is to prep the bed, add the compost, deal with the hornet's nest, get the bed all set, get the rain on it, get it recovered with tarp, and then sometime between October 31st and say the second week in November, plant the garlic seed, remove the tarps, plant the garlic seed, prep the sides of the beds, in other words, tarp those or use weed mats there so we can discourage migratory weeds from working into this bed as well. So, long-winded explanation of what the plan is, but I wanted to give you some heads up on what we're doing. Let's go take a look at the hornet's nest and see what I might do about it. So the nest is just above me here, and I just shot a little close-up video, so hopefully I'll be pinning that in right now. This is the bald-face hornet, or at least that's one of the common names around here. We have several of these paper wasp type nests. These really are a yellow jacket. They aren't really a hornet, and they're very beneficial wasp or hornet to have on site. They really love going after the caterpillars that eat all our vegetation during the winter months. I mean, during the summer months when we're in our gardens. These guys can be pretty darn aggressive. When I bumped into them without realizing it before, I have gotten stung, when I'm doing lawn mowing, that sort of thing, and I banged into their actual nest. They're known to be, as a social bee or wasp, they will work together to sting anything that's a threat to their nest, their larvae, to their home. So they will go after you. Now my question is, should I go ahead and move this nest over to one of the trees? I'm almost certainly, this time of day, the sun's out now, it's warming up, and there's lots of foragers looking for larvae. looking for caterpillars out there and eating other bugs as well. So probably isn't the wisest thing to do right now. So what I'm going to try and do is I'll move this tarp out of the way and see if I can work with them. I have to be mindful of me getting too close to that. In other words, the exhaust on Optimus Prime shoots up. So I got to make sure that I don't have that there, and pay close attention when I get near them and see if the vibrations, the sound frequencies are starting to show any signs of aggression. And they'll start bopping around. I don't know if I can set a camera up here to observe, to see that if it does happen. If it does, I'll call it quits for a while and then come back and take the nest. I'll take the branch that it's on. It's really just thicker than the thickness of my thumb, and I'll move that one over to another tree. I've got one wasp now showing signs of warning. So they do these little circle 8s back and forth really fast around the object that they're concerned about, and he's buzzing around me right now. But I'm going to give it some time. I'm going to see if I can get this tarp up, see how they behave when I move this tarp, and then go get Optimus Prime and see if I can get a few loads on here, and just be mindful of what's going on. And if I start getting stung, I do have my bee garment over there, so I can put those on as well. So here we go. Okay, so I did get the tarp up, but I did get stung once. That one who was on high alert, he just didn't like me in the area. Fortunately, the rest of the bees didn't respond to it. I got him out of me pretty quickly, so not much damage done. So I've decided what I'm going to do is try and move that, move the nest to an area that's, a good 150 feet away. I hate doing it this time of year because you have so many foragers out hunting for their larvae and their nectar and doing all the wonderful pollinating that they're doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get geared up. I'll try and record some of this. And what I'm also going to do is use a pole to help support the nest and try to prune off where the limb where it branches out to the side. And then I'm going to try and set it over in an old dead pine tree, probably 150, 200 feet away. That should allow me in the next period of time to be able to do all these things and allow them to continue doing well. So we'll see how things go. I did turn Pepe around so it's facing in the opposite direction so I can leave the area. Alright, I'm not completely sealed up. I haven't been completely sealed up for a few years now since working with the bees. But let's see if we can move that nest over to the side. So I've gone ahead and removed the nest from the tree. I've gone ahead and disrupted the normal flora around the tree, removing as many branches as I could that were right around the hornet's nest itself. So what I'm going to do now, the hornets or wasps are all quite a few of them are congregating around the GoPro camera. I'm going to see if I can walk that over there and see if I can get them to go up over where the nest is. They probably won't, but let's see. So many of the hornets are back to the original nest site. They'll be circling there for quite some time. They'll actually be there for a couple days. But quite a few of the hornets are back with their nest in the new location. And I'm going to pack up for right now because it is a little dangerous out here right now, and I just soon not get stung unnecessarily. Well, it's a couple hours later, and the hornets are still, they've congregated in a small cluster, but they're still on pretty high active status. Hopefully, typically what I've seen in the past, the cluster of hornets, bees, or wasps will stay in the area but become less reactive to all the stimuli such as loud noises and all that within 24 hours. So hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to come up here and get to work on getting the compost over here and getting this bed set like I initially had hoped to do. But for the rest of the day today and tonight, I'm not going to mess with those guys. There is something rather interesting that's been written about the bald-faced hornets, which are actually a type of yellow jacket. It's been described that they can actually, without actually placing their stinger in you and envenomation through the process of using the stinger and the little pumper, and a couple of them are starting to buzz around me right now, so I'm going to move back towards Pepe. But they can also eject that venom. And when I checked the lenses on the cameras, lots of little droplets of liquid there. So that may be accurate, that they can actually eject venom from their little venom sac at the base of the stinger. And that's something that we have to be careful of, not getting that in our eyes. Fortunately, with the gear I was wearing, I didn't have to worry about that. So, sorry about the disruption in this video, but I thought I'd include it and post it. Look forward to part 2 when I can get this bed set. Hopefully I'll be able to do that tomorrow. And if you enjoyed the video, please give us a thumbs up, share it, be sure to leave comments, ask questions, and by all means, folks, have a super fantastic day. Bye-bye now.